and the fact that like ballroom dancers are wearing those and they're dancing backwards and in high heels, that's bananagrams, dog.
It's nuts.
Women are strong. I've always said it.
You have always said that.
I've always said that.
I've argued with you a few times.
Yeah.
But you've always said it.
I've said, let them loose. I say, don't lower the rim.
No,
raise it up. Raise it up. Put them in heels and raise it up.
I think they haven't tapped into their true potential. They're like Gohan. They just need the right trigger.
Get them Super Saiyan.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, and the very next day, you gave it away. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Gentiles and Lil Mamas alike, to another phenomenal episode of My Momma Told Me.
The podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of Black conspiracy theories.
And we finally work to prove that the BPM, the beats per minute, of the Cupid Shuffle are engineered at a specific frequency that is meant to enter the Black brain and create order in the Black community. Casper, he wasn't just giving us a hit, he was giving us organization. Thank you for your work, sir. We miss you every day.
R.I.P. Gone but not forgotten.
Gone but not forgotten. And I don't know that I know his real name.
I don't know his face.
I knew he had a Kangol.
Yeah. Oh man.
I knew it was an old nigga in a Kangol.
Who I am always inclined to listen to.
Yeah. He was a real he dressed, I think, through the whole of his life like we dressed during that era where people got dressed up in the club.
Oh, the sweater vest.
Yeah, he would like keep a blazer and a Kangol on, but jeans.
Can I say this is embarrassing? I was maybe the brokest I had been in my adult life at that point. I did not participate in the business casual in the club.
You know what? History is going to shine nicely on you because of that.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I did. I was wearing bow ties in the club.
You seem like it.
I was in a bad way, big dog. I was buying clothes and being like, because I was a teacher at the time.
Yeah.
I was like, I could wear these to school and to the club. And that's a bad situation.
That's never, at that age, if you're wearing your work clothes out, it's a problem.
It was how I designed it.
Oh, man. Because I'm not going to lie. Like, there weren't a couple days I left Target, just took the name tag off, went to a party. I don't love it. But, like, yeah, that's never a good situation.
Nah, you guys got to factor the dress code in. Remember, it was a different dress code.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Especially at Black clubs, direct response to, like, the saggy jeans, big T-shirt era.
The
like,
G-Unit jackets of the time.
Yeah, where everybody looked like a runner in The Wire.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And a lot of clubs push back on that with their no hats with logos on them, that kind of like coded language.
It was a strict dress code at the time. Mm-hmm. And now I think most places are pretty like, if you look good, you can come in.
Yes.
Right.
But there was a strict dress code where it was like, you cannot have on anything that even resembles clothes that we consider like ethnic, urban, whatever the fuck it is.
The rubber-soled shoes used to piss me off.
It was crazy.
Because that's like, of all the things that I'm not going to get, hard-soled shoes is the one that I'm not gonna.
Bro, we all had on flat bottoms. That's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. But I knew cats that had a backup pair of like nicer khakis, nicer shoes in case, because it would ruin your night if four of the homies got in and they were like, those are sweatpants, not jeans. Right. You're like, no, look at the material.
These are
about to have a fashion argument with the bouncer.
Yeah,
like, you're not getting in.
You mean that dude in a black t-shirt? Yeah, he's not gonna get it. That this is like
just like
fashion innovation. Our guest today, you're already hearing from him. We're so happy he's here. We're in Denver. We're at Dude IDK Studios, the finest establishment we've ever been at in Denver. I would say we've never been anywhere else, but this is the best.
Yeah, this is top tier. I shot my special in here.
You shot your special here,
Yeah.
and it seems impossible. But
is
you
this
pulled
beanie
it
crazy?
off. You
Does
look
it
great.
crazy?
You look gorgeous.
Man, it's like a little guy cool beanie. When you said I had a beanie, I was like, okay. And then it was like smaller than I'm used to.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's not. You didn't do anything. This was like because of the Santa hat. We had a whole debacle before.
Our guest today has nothing to do with any of this debacle.
I'm sorry. I just was
He's
in my
truly
head.
been a victim the entire time.
I was staring at the beanie.
Yeah,
Because
is it-
Don't do that.
because you can't tell how big they are, and then you go to tug down and pull it down over your ears, and it has no give.
It don't go no
and you're
further.
like, I got to commit to this. But that's
Yeah.
you need a tuft to hair beanie, and we don't have that.
Oh, so this is not good.
No, it's a good look. You just got to commit to it. It works with the jacket, old school.
Because he
Bucks.
tossed it to me. It was lighter
Yeah,
than I'm used to.
yeah.
I was already
There should
like,
be more
oh, this
material
doesn't,
than this.
yeah, this doesn't have the weight.
This don't feel like a
Yeah.
beanie I be wearing.
I'm used to a 45. You gave me a 38.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. It's okay.
I think you're doing fine, and I'm so happy that our guest
Yes.
is here,
Yo.
not wearing any shitty clothing. You look great.
Paint on my pants, like a concerned dad. This podcast, which I am. So, like, yeah, shout out. I got
He's
turtleneck on. Jesus.
Person I'm a huge fan of. You're a huge
Hell
fan
yeah.
of. You know him from Comedy Central. You know him from his work on FX. You know him from his work on the goddamn news. You do the news sometimes.
I used to. That show has been canceled.
Okay, well,
But yeah, I did the news for 7 years, man. You know, you in this business, Dave. You in this business. It's just like that was a great run.
Yeah,
We do something
yeah.
else now. Like,
no, you've done it all, and it all is amazing. And more importantly, you're an amazing comedian, and we're so happy he's here with us. Give it up for Al Jackson, everybody.
Oh, do we have to say give it up when we all know each other and there's no one here?
We usually
know-
press a button.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
that's
there's
dope.
like a sound effect that would follow it, and I didn't keep that in account when I said give it up. So
Well, I still appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank you.
man,
I'll take
we'll
it.
give it up for
And
you.
there were times I started my comedy career in South Florida and Miami, and it was a different world for stand up in that like doing black rooms early in your career when you weren't good anyway. Sometimes you would just walk into a nightclub Thursday, it's ladies' night. No one knows their stand up. No one knows. And then they just stop the music. Trick Daddy going, hey, we got some
Fuck.
comedians here. And just the intros would just be, all right, y'all. Now, you know we don't boo here. You know we don't boo here. All right. So we're going to show him some respect. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
It's like, but if I didn't book him, but be respectful. I'm like, God, just bring me, it's like,
dog, just
please, just bring me.
you would
Man.
do better pulling the cord and just letting me talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than prefacing this with like, look, I've never met this boy in my life. It scares me that he's here, but we got to be respectful.
Yeah.
Also, there's no joke I can tell that's better than the Slip and Slide All Stars.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
What a period of hip hop.
Come on, take it to
Craziness.
the house.
Yeah, dude.
You're from Florida?
From Cleveland. I went down to Florida for grad school and then I taught middle school like you.
Yeah.
Do you teach middle school?
I taught high school.
High school, yeah. I taught middle school for 5 years and started doing open mics at night. But yeah, so I started my career in South Florida, but I'm from Cleveland.
But you were there when the Trick Daddy reign was
man.
supreme.
Yeah,
That seems
man.
like one
It's
of the
hard to
golden eras
understand.
of the world.
It was the last, I feel like, period of time where the world was like the Wild Wild West. Like the apartment complex I was in was a place where those people don't exist anymore because now those people have been fired and let go. And now they've been replaced with 27-year-olds that are serious about their career.
Yeah.
Maintenance men smoking blunts, walking down the hallway.
I like that.
You go down to the office because your sink isn't working, and the woman just tells you, "Well, what the fuck do you want me to do about that?"
Fuck.
Like to your face.
Yeah.
Like there's no. Yeah, I mean, just it was a wild time in life,
Yeah.
and I think it was good for me. And I wonder if there's like a part of everybody that wasn't alive and kind of an adult at that period that is trying to get back to just a look where it's not even, it's so, you're, even if you're in Vegas, your wife is like, why are you still at the Aria? I'm looking at your location. It's like,
Right.
it's hard to just, Vegas used to be just a place where you could just go and be a dirtbag, coke, booze, strippers, and then come back and assume your normal life again and just like have that outlet.
There is no
there's no dirtbag release.
There's no what happens in anywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's everything is documented, and if it isn't documented, it could be documented. And in that way, it forces people to never release fully into like, oh, I'm just a scum. I'm just scum for a little while.
Yeah. Which now the problem is they funnel it into YouTube comments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And like places on the internet where it doesn't feel good to release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like, if you could just go to Vegas once a year, kill a prostitute with your boys, maybe you don't have to be so mean to these female comedians on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what's missing is a dead sex worker.
That's obviously going crazy. But I do think that like maybe you need to be able to go out and get nuts. Like I went to New Orleans just recently, and it was just not. It just the tone of it feels like it shifted a little bit, even on Bourbon Street. And stuff
really?
Like that. Yeah.
Are there just people taking video of themselves? I feel like there needs to be a place where you know that you're not going to be videoed, and that's even at strip clubs. Even when who's it, John Morant out here in Denver?
Oh yeah,
he had the strap with him at the strip club.
Yeah,
not great, but that's not our business.
No,
and it affected his career, and it's just like. Athletes can't go to the strip club. You're 22, whatever.
I'm 22 and I make millions of dollars and I can't party with a naked woman and a gun.
And those strippers weren't scared.
No,
you know what I mean? Like whatever he was doing with that gun. And again, not my version of a great time, but like whatever he was doing, he made it clear with everybody around him. This is okay.
No,
we're good.
They thought. Inside sources say they thought he was being corny. They weren't like, oh, he's gonna shoot us.
No, they were just like
it was like, why are him and his boys all hanging out with their shirts off, not talking to us?
Yeah, we're next to a Target.
Yeah, that's the thing, bro. People need to know that about that is that it is next to a Target.
Whoa,
it shares a parking lot with a Target.
Whoa,
and a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, awesome.
Anything you need on that block, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't like,
it's a greater problem where just like, I think that I was able to like, when I decided to stop drinking, chill out and just be a normal person, I got all that out of me. And it was a lot in there. It was a lot. I was a wild dude.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I don't need to be there. I'm good. I know they're having fun. But like, I've seen it kind of manifest with some of my friends my age. I'm 47. Where they did the right thing straight through college, straight through graduate school, got the job, house, wife, perfect life. And they're like, do you want to go to a beach party in Vegas? No. They're 26-year-olds. Like, you look like a silent partner here.
Yeah,
you don't look like you should be mixing it up, but they're still trying to get their 27-year-old selves back. So I don't know. I'm glad I got that out.
I feel closer probably to what they were in that I don't know that I got like all my rocks off before I got married and like settled into a life. And I do know now more than ever that like, oh, I'm just never going to have it. Like there's no version where I get to go party on the beach with a bunch of bad bitches and pretend like that's my life again.
Right.
It just isn't. You know what I mean? And that's cool. Like, I love my family. I love the life that I built. But you just have to settle into the fact that, like, them days were available. You didn't access them quite as much as you should have. And you'll live with that. You know what I mean? You'll have to satiate in different ways. But it ain't happening with the bad bitches on the beach.
I was just going to say, do you think you want it more in theory than you do in practice? But that's just saying, of course you want it in practice.
I don't know if you do.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
Like one day, like a day.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, but I think in the fantasies that we all have about like whatever scenario that you want to paint, whether it's you and 6 models in a penthouse, wherever. I did this old school hip hop show and they're playing Jay-Z and he had that line, I got 6 model chicks, 6 bottles of Chris. And I was thinking like the Al now would hate to be at the bar with 6 models and like just trying to like wrangle them to go and be like, yo, where's
Jessica? Come on.
She put her card down. My card is down.
Yeah,
she did. No, you paid your. I would be so frustrated because I'm old now. But like, I did that, and
when
that was fun.
Go,
like,
you want to go.
Yeah, and I wonder if dudes, when they do their fantasy, take their personality into that fantasy.
I think that's often the problem, right? And it's something I think I was aware of even at a younger age, was like, I would watch the dudes who were really like saucing with women and really like going crazy out there. Yeah. And I watched how they talked to people and how they like moved with people. And I knew I didn't have that in me.
That is, you will learn that first time you go to a nightclub and you're like, oh, that's not what I'm doing.
And that's the problem. It's not that I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just didn't have it.
No,
and
truly.
I know even now, like even with my resources and whatever, I'm going to be around 6 baddies and I'm not going to talk to them like a man that gets 6 baddies.
Yeah, you're going to try
you know what I mean?
You're going to try to interject stand-up comedy into the conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck around and bring up Attack on Titan and then it's ruined.
That's true. That's true. Because I have had myself in bad bitch situations where I was not converting, very nervous. And then that feels even worse than the idea.
That's why I don't want to be around them.
Making it happen is a bad feeling.
That's a low.
Where you're like, I got in.
If you didn't go, you can sleep.
That's true.
If you went and you bombed, you awake.
Yeah.
You feel that.
That's a tough night.
Damn.
But also their personalities might not, like, we could hang out in any scenario and I feel like it would be funny, serious at some points, but just like interactive because of the way we talk to each other. But a model, for the most part, is probably not used to comedic banter.
No.
And that's not a shot against models, but the people that they interact with are people with yachts. Yeah. And the people that are short with them, like, be ready at 9, the chopper will pick you up on the roof. And she's like, okay. They're not ready for, like, David's witty banter.
No, I don't have to be funny. I
or
have
the
a
back end of the night when you find out I'm sad.
Yeah. You think you first man to cry in front of me?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you've changed your ways. We're glad you're here with us today on our most Christian episode, I would say.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, y'all.
It's our holiday episode. We're excited to have you here, Al. And you came to us with a conspiracy. You came to us with, I would say, a denser conspiracy than we're going to articulate it as, but we're excited to hear you fully unpack this thing. It's I think going to evolve as you explain it. But you basically said, my mama told me.
Kwanzaa is on the come up.
Yes.
Tell us everything you believe.
Please get into it.
My relationship with Kwanzaa has been slight to non-existent most of my life. My mom was a very progressive Black woman. Like I always said, like she had us eating quinoa like in 80 when no one knew.
Damn.
Like health food store, like the same kind of store that has like carrot juice.
Wow.
You know, like one of them co-ops where you like, why it smells weird in here? It smells like raw vegetables and radishes. You like,
why do I have to go to the back?
Yeah. Like,
that doesn't seem right.
It's like my mom was on that grinding her own coffee beans. She's like, when everybody's going like yuppie, big cell phone, my mom was just very like progressive. And so she introduced Kwanzaa, but like introducing Kwanzaa in 1986 to a couple Black kids in Cleveland, it's like, wait, one gift and no one knows what I'm talking about. And I don't know how to say it and I won't say it. Like Kwanzaa, there was no place, there was no fertile ground for it to grow.
Understandable.
But as I look at my kids who are, I can't barely call them kids anymore, 17, 16, and 10, and how they react to not only Christmas, but Halloween, Thanksgiving to a lesser extent, kids don't care about their Halloween candy. They don't care about Christmas because before the internet, if you wanted something, you threw hints all year. I want this mini dirt bike. And you say January, March, November, throwing it out to Santa.
Yeah.
Now you could just get it. And so the immediacy, my kids get up on Christmas morning like, a hungover dad. Like they'll be up like 9. Like we were up at 4:30 getting yelled, go back to bed. Parents still wrapping gifts down there, you know. So the idea of Christmas and the immediacy or the excitement of what they got is gone. It does not exist.
Interesting.
And I look at these kids now, and that just on its own is very creepy. But I look at these like girls, my dog. I look at these kids.
Look at these kids.
They're like
they don't know I'm looking.
12-year-old adults in my eyes. But no, it's like they are incredibly emotionally articulate. My daughter and her friends and the way they talk to each other, and they're like, we'll just get on a Zoom call and we'll give each other positive affirmations. I'm like, what?
That's crazy.
Bro.
How old is she?
17. But I know people
20 years older. I want my friends to do that.
Can you imagine just like, hey, let me just call Dave and Lang and just be like, yo, you were really good tonight.
Hey, brother. You're doing great. You're inspiring a lot of people.
Coordinated. We are all calling at the same time on purpose. And my greater point to that is that they are a lot more, they're going to be a lot less interested in celebrating a holiday like Christmas, where there's not a lot of, it's a very religious thing for you, it's really just seen as like a gift giving and taking thing.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa, I found out, happens after the day after Christmas. So it's the 26th to New Year's. So it's that dead week.
Right.
So there's territory there. It's one thing a day. One day is like unity. One day is like togetherness. And it's about like, it's the kind of stuff that I wouldn't have even known what you were talking about had you suggested that. But I could see my daughters and also TikTokers getting this big and being like, today for unity, blah, blah, blah. Oh. You get a couple big people on that. And Kwanzaa, I'm saying Christmas is there to be nice, is wobbly.
So you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're not necessarily tracking it rising yet. You're on some like future stock shit.
Yeah.
This is investing in pork belly for you.
Yeah.
Like,
and
see
also
what's
you're
coming.
charting the drop of Christmas.
Right.
You think Christmas is on the decline?
Not on the decline. I think what we've seen is that for whatever lies we want to tell ourselves, most of these holidays are for adults.
Yeah.
Like Halloween, we say trick-or-treating, but them kids are in the house by dusk. Ain't no late night trick-or-treating.
Right.
And if there is, it's out in the suburbs. I live in Denver in a house in a nice, safe neighborhood, you know, and I've been there since right before COVID, like 4 or 5 years. I don't think I've ever gotten a trick-or-treater. Houses are close to each other. It was a neighborhood that's like built for you could hit 10 houses.
Yeah, my neighborhood too.
Yeah, but like now, everybody throws their kids in the car and they go out to the suburbs because the suburbs can block off like the street. And then everybody pops their garages. And it's kind of like a dick measuring contest between houses. Like, yeah, you're giving out candy, but they got music in there. Wife's got her tits out. Husband, you know,
we're
like
over here giving out scholarships.
Yeah, like really, you know, it's like a chance for closeted extroverts to act like, oh, I'm just sexy Sherlock Holmes. It's like, all right, dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You just want to put on some fishnets and be in public because that's who you are internally. Yeah. So I feel like Halloween parties are big. Halloween lasts like 3, 4, or 5 days. I saw people in November going to Halloween parties.
We were on tour.
Yeah.
And we were in Atlanta on Halloween and mostly performing for old black ladies who were not participating in Halloween.
Not having a great time.
They were not there for it at all. But we then toured. We had like 4 days basically and went to Austin like 3 days later. And Austin, 3 days after Halloween, was still celebrating Halloween. Like, was still, 6th Street was blocked off. Everybody had on a costume. And it felt very adult in that way. Where it had nothing to do with children and trick-or-treating. This was grown-ups in nasty clothes wearing their shit.
Yeah, and that's how I think about it. I do think about it as it's Halloween is for foam parties or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't think about the kids?
Not at all. And I do think I used to see more kids. I feel like I used to see more kids. I mean, you don't see kids out the house in general anymore. But I used to see more, like even within my neighborhood that's like yours, like houses close together, set up for trick-or-treating. hardly anybody had any kind of like lawn ornaments, any kind of lights. There just really wasn't a lot of it.
The suburbs took all that.
When we were kids, and I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, but when we were kids, it felt like we were terrorizing people's homes. Where like the doorbell never stopped ringing. Like if you shut your door, you were getting a ring, ring, ring all night long. And now even at my house, like, and I live in a pretty like walkable, very nice, pleasant neighborhood.
Lots of houses around.
And like we get some trick-or-treaters, but they don't bother us. Like if we turn the porch light off, it's over. Like everybody's very like aware and respectful of the holiday. And so I to circle this back to Christmas, if it sounds like I'm understanding you correctly, it's less that Christmas is disappearing, but more that we value it differently than we did as children.
Absolutely. And only the people that like the kind of religious people that go to church on Christmas Eve or go to church Christmas Day or something like that. It really is almost like Thanksgiving. It's a holiday for older folks, football and food.
Yeah.
That's great for me. I'm damn near 50, but like my son don't care about football. He's 16. So like, he's like, I don't eat that much. Like Thanksgiving isn't a big deal to him.
Damn.
And there's a space for
Kwanzaa
and just any other kind of like holidays kind of go up and down. And like, I feel like there's just going to be adult holidays because Halloween, I think, is almost fully adult, but just like you need the kids for the beard of it. But really there's going to be a younger generation that takes like a kind of fringe holiday, dusts it off, and makes it their own.
I love the idea of the executives at Big Kwanzaa rubbing their hands together.
We here at Big Kwanzaa in Detroit.
Yeah.
Are you tired of Santa Claus dancing in the back of your videos? Come on over here to Big Kwanzaa.
It's a thing. And then we're going to have to watch the commodification of Kwanzaa, which is going to be the most American thing you can do is like all these things that you think are so underground as we look at like Snoop selling us, fire pits outside.
Wine. We got some of that Snoop wine on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, wine is just like, I mean, all these things that were underground, now they're going to be used to market to you.
We were talking about this before you got here, but we were talking about how quickly Juneteenth got usurped as now a just general national holiday that everybody gets the day off for. You ain't got to pray. You ain't got to go thank your black neighbor. Nothing. It's just you get the day off and you ain't got to talk about it. And it happened so fast because 4 years ago, even I don't think I knew any white people who even knew what Juneteenth was.
It wasn't up for discussion. It never came up.
No.
Like, and then they found out about that shit. And then white ladies got an Instagram filter and it was done.
And I'm not from the South. Y'all ain't from the South. It wasn't a thing for me growing up.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Like even in black households, it's not like everybody celebrated Juneteenth.
You would get a calendar and it'd be like Juneteenth was in the same genre as like, you know, like there'll be a day that's like winter solstice or something on the calendar. And you're like, what is that?
It's
you know what I'm saying?
It's the holiday in italics.
Yeah.
Arbor Day.
Yeah. Where they like have to, they like a law has been passed where they have to alert you that's but it wasn't a thing.
No.
And then like you said, out of nowhere, it's just like, you don't celebrate June. What, you don't think we should? I don't think most Americans even to this day know exactly what it is.
No.
They probably heard it once, but just like, you know, people are just coming around on MLK Day.
Yeah. And that's also a fascinating thing because I didn't realize, and this is my own ignorance, I didn't realize how recently MLK Day was a day. You know what I mean?
How recent is it? I don't know how recently it is.
MLK Day, they were fighting against it during the fucking, I think, Bush administration.
Arizona wouldn't like, because what's it called? Public Enemy had a song basically about it.
By the time I get to Arizona.
Yeah.
And
it was just like people would not take the day off just out of like clear defiance of just like, fuck that dude.
It like didn't get declared a national holiday until like pretty recently.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess we're at least of the age where it's like that's right when we would have been little kids enough to not know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always recall it I always remember it, but damn, that's cold-blooded.
Yeah, man. But to that point, Juneteenth is now, it seems, pretty
Co-opted.
ubiquitous with
Yeah.
like the American holiday experience. And then the same feels like it will happen to Kwanzaa should it get this inevitable rise.
It'll be a
you're
clear
tracking.
dividing line between the generations, I think.
Oh.
Like, I think it'll be a younger person thing, and eventually they will be older. But for a while, it will be like 24-year-old students at NYU consciously celebrate it and get some kind of, traction on the internet from it. But like, your uncle would be like, what now?
It does make sense. I see what you're saying. It's right for like, it's the perfect small cause for an internet asshole to take up. Right? Like that's the perfect thing. Everybody's heard of it, but it's still niche enough that you could be interesting by doing it. It's the perfect way to pretend you're interesting. Is what I'm saying.
It reminds me a little bit. I've been watching the Menendez brothers shit. Like, they had the show and then they had the documentary, and they both came out sort of in tandem. But part of the reason that the Menendez brothers are now getting like this new trial, or at least this new assessment of their sentencing, was in part because a bunch of TikTok kids started unpacking their story and going like, hey, it's fucked up that we didn't address all the sexual assault stuff that happened in their family. That like they claimed that they were brutally assaulted by this father and the mother to some extent. And that was the cause for them needing to kill their parents. And in the trial, it gets treated a lot more like, y'all are just bad boys. You did a bad thing. You're going to jail for the rest of your life. And that all happened on TikTok. And so the question of a person on TikTok being like, we got to reassess Kwanzaa feels very in the wheelhouse of some TikTok shit.
I also feel like Christmas is ripe for a takedown just because I'm going to blame it on Jeff Bezos. Kids get too many packages. They're not as excited about presents.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you were a kid, how many packages you got?
Very rare.
I got a package. It was it was as exciting as Christmas.
Yeah.
My mom saying, David, you got something in the mail?
That was nuts.
It's the same as Christmas.
It was nuts.
It was the same exact thing.
You'd be thinking about it for weeks. When you sent away for something, it was 6 to 8 weeks. Every day at school, you'd be like, man, is that going to be at home? And then when it is.
And it was trash. Whatever it was.
Of course it was.
It was trash.
Yeah, nothing.
The goddamn Nesquik beanie.
Nothing I could afford in the East Bay magazine was going to.
East Bay.
Man. Where's that documentary, Netflix?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
East Bay went through it, baby. They had a high and a low real fast.
That was there's always this narrative that like women be shopping, but like guys looked at that catalog in the exact same way that my grandmother would look at a Saks Fifth Avenue catalog and be like, I'm going to get that. My grandma would be like, look at those isotoner gloves.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, look at those shorts. You could customize them. You got, all right, we could go to the core with the same color shorts. It was like the same thing.
They've got all the colors of shocks.
Yeah.
Every shock.
The amount of times me and my boys sat in a bed with our feet up, just flipping through East Bay, talking about the shoes we were never gonna have,
bro.
It's the hours that I wasted. It's immeasurable.
I used to look at East Bay like a real magazine where I'd be like, "Oh, I haven't seen this one."
It meant the world to me.
Yeah, it was amazing. You're planning full East Bay outfits.
Did you order anything from there?
Never one time.
I think I got some Team Jordans once. Like, talked my dad into getting me some Team Jordans out of again, Team Jordans, that ain't Jordans.
That's the Polo Club of Polo.
Yeah, 100%.
It was, I should be fair to myself, it was also early in the Team Jordan era where we didn't quite understand.
They were relevant for a minute where it was okay.
They had a moment where you didn't quite know that those weren't going to be treated like real Jordans. It felt like 12 and a halves, and you were like, that's cool, we got them 12 and a halves, whatever. And now we all know that it's the US Polo Association.
That's what it is. That sounds like the minor leagues of polo.
Bro.
It was a bad, but I got some of those, but truly everything else was just a dream that I was selling myself every month.
I would have myself fitted before football season with that East Bay that came out right before school started.
Of course.
I had the gloves circled. I had the cleats circled.
Damn.
Never got any of it, but man, I was ready.
I ordered 2 things. I ordered this thing called the AccuRim. I used to play hoop. And it was like a rim that you put on the inside. Like, it was what an old person would shit in. And that shit gets your jumper so nice because it has to be not only just a swish, but you have to put arc on it. Right. So when you practice a couple summers with that, bro, my jumper was nice.
It worked.
Bro, it worked.
You're the first person I've ever heard who bought like a basketball technology.
Yeah.
That was like, nah, this shit worked.
Did you ever dream of just having a rebounder? Like all-time rebound? No, but just a person. I used to think of like this imaginary guy that would just like rebound. Like how many more shots I could get up.
You're doing great, Al.
Fake Daryl.
You mean, get it? You mean,
damn, man, you wet.
You mean, was I a lonely child?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shooting jumpers is a dead giveaway. You're a lonely kid.
Please tell me the second thing you got was those plyometric shoes.
That's the ones I wanted so bad.
You know, that's exactly what I'm about to tell you.
Did it work?
Yes. They were called strength shoes.
Whoa.
I used to be able to dunk with 2 hands. I ruptured my Achilles tendon, but they absolutely worked.
Shit.
Oh, that fucks me up knowing that shit worked.
Yes.
Because I remember, like, your parents are like, this is ridiculous. There's no special sneakers you're going to wear. But, like, I remember looking at it and being like, this technology makes sense.
You're on your tiptoes.
I'm doing the angles. This technology makes sense. It really
worked. Obviously, my kids, one of the best days of my life. I've had some good highlights in my life. I threw down a dunk at my boy Donnie's house in his driveway.
Yeah.
I still remember that. That was probably 30 years ago.
Fuck,
but this is one of the best days of my life hearing about it.
Dude, it was. You know who had crazy hops?
Yeah.
Is Craig Robinson.
What?
He came to our show because he's doing a show in Denver, so he came on our set. And I don't know why we were talking about basketball. We had the clip ready. It was him. No, the comics use it as a hack joke, but it was him 200 pounds ago. But I mean, like crazy, like threw down like Daryl Dawkins dunk. Like
holy shit,
bruh. Craig Robinson was a baller. Like
I
baller.
You know what? I could see that because he's bigger than you think he is, right? Like he's like secretly like almost 6'3", 6'4",
right?
I think. And then he also is like one of them dudes that like had a whole life before he got to comedy.
Another teacher like us.
Yeah, he was a teacher. He was a musician. He did a lot of shit. And I think those kinds of guys, you got one in your pocket where you're just like, yeah, I used to play ball.
Yeah.
I used to dunk on motherfuckers. I don't do that no more.
I can't believe those sneakers worked. I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's like a
they
whole
really
different
did.
life if I had convinced one birthday.
Dude.
They looked ridiculous. And
no, you look like an asshole.
Yeah. You looked great. They were like snowshoes in the city.
Yeah.
Because they were like, it was like a wider platform and then the shoe was on top of that, right?
Right. It was like a trophy of a shoe.
It was like you were walking around like a G.I. Joe. You know what I mean? Like you're truly just sitting on top of fucking G.I. Joe platform.
Yes.
And it just kept you on your tiptoes all day.
I mean, you do see women, I don't know, as much as you used to when it was like almost unacceptable for a woman to be out without wearing high heels. But when you think, and I've talked to a lot of my female friends because I just took it for granted, like, oh, they throw your heels on and they go out to party. Think about being on your toes, leaving the house, going up and down stairs, dancing, back on your toes. And then you see like some chicks would have like crazy calves. You're like, oh, it's like, it makes sense. It gets your leg game right.
For Sam's show, we all put on high heels to like try them because that was like part of a bid of an episode, whatever. I walked probably 10 feet. And was like, I can't do this no more.
It's like,
nightmare.
It's crazy when you think about it. Like that is something I have thought about though, that we are in an era that, speaking of East Bay, that we would have never thought about in terms of sports, where women's basketball, pro and college, like I've talked to homies who've been like, yo, the Iowa game's coming on, hit you back. And they're talking about women's college basketball.
Yeah.
Think about how crazy that would have sounded 8 years ago.
Nah, dog, I did, I was a practice player for our women's college basketball team.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
What college?
Michigan.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes,
Yeah.
D1.
Yeah, it was. They were the worst team, and
You must can ball though.
I was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could play. I could play some ball. I can't anymore, but at a time in my life, I was pretty good at basketball. But one of the things that I realized, even when doing it, this was 2007 that I'm doing it. There was nobody I told it to that didn't laugh in my face.
That's insane.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even now, when I mention it to like executives and stuff, they kind of like chuckle and shit.
Right.
Because it's as a premise just seems absurd that a man would bow the knee to more talented women than him at a, you know what I mean, at a thing.
Wildly more talented.
So much better.
I'm giving you props for being on the court with them. I just think that it's I forgot what that principle's called. Like, the more you learn, the more you realize, the less you know. And so you understand how difficult life is.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, a lot of people will look at something amazing and be like, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, basketball. You shoot the ball in the hoop, got it. But, like, when you learn basketball, you have to learn how to shoot and get your mechanics, then learn how to dribble, then learn how to play defense, then learn how to play team basketball, and then learn how to play against the zone. You just realize you'll never know all the stuff. But if you keep your horizons super low, everything is super easy to you. Because you're like, it's just because you take the simple.
But that's because you can't do anything.
Right.
If you can't do nothing, everything hard seems easy because you've never tried to do anything.
It's
like,
the thing that drives me the craziest. I only watch the NBA. I'm not really tapped in any other sport, but like, you'll see it probably every day that an NBA game is playing. Some player's name will be trending, and it's just people saying they're fucking trash. Just like Gabe Vincent for the Lakers now.
Unbelievable.
Every week, they're like, fucking Gabe Vincent, he's the worst player in the league. He fucking sucks. He is so good at basketball.
He's the best athlete you would ever come across if you met him in person in your entire life.
By far and away.
Every single NBA athlete.
I've played against D2 dudes that I was like, I can't believe how much better you are at basketball than I am. You know what I mean? Like,
amazing.
You're light years above what I'm capable of.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we talking about? He's not trash. You're upset with him.
Right.
And you're in a bad way because your parlay ain't going to hit. But, like, no way is this a bad basketball player. Watch your fucking mouth.
There's no respect. Watch your mouth, dog.
It's
like,
crazy.
in terms of just like, can you put a little speck on anybody's name? Like, dude, I remember when the Cavs won the title from Cleveland. It was the only time our city's ever seen a title in my lifetime.
I'm sorry that's happened to you guys.
Can't relate.
I mean, dysfunctional organizations. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at a team, it's just, and I was telling my homie this in a weird way. If you think about how like just soccer or football, whatever, in Europe, if you suck, they demote you to basically the second league.
That's the greatest system in the world.
It is, but here, NFL, they share that TV money, so there's no incentive for your team to get better because the good thing about capitalism, whatever, is it eliminates poorly run companies.
Right.
But
we
here,
talked about that on the road with what team did we talk about that with?
I don't remember, but I do remember the conversation.
Oh, Jerry Jones wanted to keep the Cowboys.
That's
back.
right. Yeah.
Because it's more lucrative than if he's a winner.
What if the Cowboys or the Browns had to drop down and play in like the XFL or the AFL?
If it was the XFL
and the Super Bowl winner came up and played in the pros.
Oh, like soccer.
Yeah, like you get, and it would just keep your shit. So you're just not like, yo, we got an 85-year-old running our team and your team looks like it. A good wide receiver. It's like the way like a 7-year-old would draft. Like, I just need a good wide receiver. It's like, no. You know, but there's no incentive to get better because the floor is the same as the ceiling.
Yeah. We're the split. We still see the bread that we're going to see.
Right.
Everybody's going to eat.
And it increases every year.
Right.
Yeah, you just got to keep on. You just got to hold the team.
That's
as long as you own it, you make that money. That's bad business.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm sorry you guys haven't won. We recently won. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Bucks fan,
I'm
you're going to
assuming.
win anytime
What?
soon.
You're a Buck?
No, this is because it's Christmas. It didn't come across the bit. The bit didn't really work. This is coming out on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So I wore Christmas colors.
Well, you had on the Santa hat, and then
I gave it to Langston because I wanted him to be involved. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, you swung big on Christmas.
I swung huge.
You said, I love the Lord.
That's not what I said.
That's what you screamed.
That's not what I said.
You said, I love
something
Jesus
about women
Christ.
not working?
That's not what I said. I think women should work more.
Before we go to break, have you ever celebrated Kwanzaa in your adult life? No, not as a child, but not even as an adult.
No. And I was thinking, since I have this take, I might next year, because it's too late now to spring it on my kids. But
I was going to say, they're going to be gone next year.
I know. It's like, that's my out. I'd be like, I'm ready. Oh, y'all at college?
Damn.
All right, then. Yeah,
it's just going to be one young child being annihilated by a new holiday.
That would be so hard. And he knows his brother.
Yeah.
He knows his siblings had Christmas.
Yeah.
He's
and
the Kwanzaa
friends,
kid.
Yeah, it's like, yo, what did you get for Unity today? Like,
Umoja.
Yeah. A lot of couscous.
It turns out me and my dad held hands in the kitchen and said what we're grateful for about each other.
That's what it is. But the only time that works, holding hands, talking about like, hey, man, we live a good life, which I think we should do more often.
Yeah.
Like I have tried to do with, comics, is like that's a certain time in your life. That's like post-college until you get married where you're trying to figure out who you are. And there's a space in there where like you be open. It's also the same period of time where you're open to joining a cult, which is weird.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, really.
This is a cult. What do you think? This is a comedy thing?
I mean, come on. I was telling my boy the other day with cults, like, I wonder if because if we only see the people that successfully started them and that there's some that have failed, but what about the kinds that just like, you have a cult and you try to get like 500 people and you got like 4.
Bro,
But
there's
they're
mad 20
following.
people cults.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut up.
What's Nick, do you know the county where the frozen dead lady was?
Mother God.
Yeah, but in that county, there's several other cults that are on the same type of thing where it's just like 10 people who are on this shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to go because like Nexium got too big. And once they started branding them, the government was like, we got to get in.
Have you seen the Mother God documentary?
I think so. Was that woman that kind of went crazy, but like those kids were obsessed with her? Which one's the Mother God?
She starts drinking silver.
Yes, I saw that one.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's very that part of it.
That guy had to carry her around at the end. Yeah.
She like drinks herself to death, but specifically with silver and alcohol.
Right.
But
can you imagine like diagnosing cirrhosis and then also having to be like, are you drinking liquid silver?
And she's like, yes, yes, because I'm God. But that one I think is an example of like there were only like 15 people, but they fucked with her hard.
That's all you need. Small batch cults is really the way to go, I think.
That's
like urban. Yeah.
The problem becomes when they scale it up. Like, but if you're able to start a religion and it's just like you get 8 to 10 people, but they'll die for that shit, don't get greedy. You know what I mean? How much do you need?
My wife keeps trying to start a cult.
What?
Yeah. I probably shouldn't have done this right before a break, but she's actively keeps being, her whole thing, she's a lawyer, and she keeps saying that a cult, in order to start to get religious exemption from taxes, all you need technically is a firmly held belief. You don't need a lot of paperwork. There isn't even a lot of filing because she does nonprofit tax work. And so like part of what she knows is that like religious exemption is very different than like if you have to file as a nonprofit that services this and this for the community, whatever. And so she keeps trying to convince her friends, if we buy a compound somewhere and we just establish a firmly held belief, we can create religious exemption and live off the grid.
Get out of here.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. My issue with it, and this is what I keep trying to emphasize with her, is that...
This is great that you're wearing a Santa hat.
Yeah.
Because now I'm imagining you guys have that fight, but you're in a Santa hat.
It's most of our fights.
It's like you have to put that hat on to be able to speak in front of the group. Langston has on the Santa hat.
Yeah, that's one of the cult laws.
Yeah. I have on the Santa. You wait. My issue with it is not that it doesn't sound dope. It's that historically we've always seen somebody take it too far. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like Wild Wild Country was about people putting on maroon and fucking in the woods. And everybody loved it and they were doing great and there were no problems until Sheila took it a step too far and she poisoned the water supply. And now all of a sudden we don't get to fuck in the woods no more because things got crazy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's always
Are
one
you worried that
person-
you'll be Sheila?
I got to step in for Sheila, dog.
You think Sheila's the hero in the story?
I think Sheila is maybe, and this is going to sound crazy, I put her in the same pantheon that I put Kobe.
Whoa.
I swear to God, in that somebody that's able to have determination on a level where it's unhealthy, but it's necessary to get what you want done.
Yeah.
Kobe was going through a rape trial and balling on his off days.
Going crazy.
Yeah.
The deaths, 1,000-yard death stare. That's what Sheila had. And Sheila was cool until that county around her started trying to pull some shenanigans with the votes and trying to get them up out of there. And Sheila was like, "It ain't go." What did Marlo say in The Wire? You wanted to be one way, but it's the other way. It was the other way, and I don't have that in me. I don't know how many people do, but if you can get a Sheila on your side, you're in good shape. If she's going against you, it's a problem.
That's my issue, is that I think it's not that you don't want Sheila on your side. And I agree with you. It was much more about those white people making problems for them than it was that Sheila created the problems. But what you do need with this firmly held belief is a level of sobriety where you go, we don't really believe this shit. And Sheila really fucking believed it. And
right.
That's dangerous.
And that's just you being too good of a cult leader.
That's the problem. Is that like somebody in there is really going to be like, I'll die for this shit.
What you need is
or I'll kill you for this shit.
I'll kill you for this shit. And that's scary.
But that's what I like about what your wife's idea is. She's like, hey, y'all, we're going to run a scam.
Mm-hmm.
We all know we're scamming. That I think seems reasonable.
But up until
I think it
you
always
don't.
starts that way.
Yeah, I think he pulled me over because I was on you. I never thought about the long term because we're imagining this in this abstract way, like we are all kind of these fixed individuals. But we all know that there have been periods of our lives that we got homeboys where it's like, yeah, this is a fun thing. After like he's had 27 nights of threesomes with 25-year-olds calling him their lord or whatever. That would change the chemicals in his mind.
Truly, but that's not what he's talking about, right? Because also the way that your wife is describing it, there's no growth.
But I don't know that she can see past that. Do you see what I'm saying? I think she's looking at it as like, I have 11 best friends. If me and my 11 best friends all lived on a compound together and we pretended to have this firmly held belief, we'd be fine. But what she's skipping is that we are raising children. And our children would be raised on this compound with this firmly held belief as a principle that they're living under, which means that they will eventually want to carry that forward. And maybe my kids are cool enough that they get that this is a bit, or maybe my son is a weirdo who decides that the firmly held belief means he gets 4 pussies a night. And if he doesn't get his 4 pussies a night, he'll chop your feet off. And now we've got a problem.
But what I'm saying is the 11 of you, or however many the 11 couples on the compound, right? Are you actually withholding to the belief, or is that what you're telling the government? I tell the government all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? Are you in that compound practicing a religion, or is there a set of rules that you're telling the government you reside by, but you guys are just living? Because if you guys are just living, I don't think it becomes that. I think it becomes just like a cool scam you guys are running.
I think
I don't think I think that a turn to a religion is a lot more purposeful than that.
I think what you're saying sounds to me idealistic more than what we've seen historically in practice. That almost always in practice, somebody takes it too far and then you're Waco.
I mean, but what is the firmly held belief? Are you creating a religion, or are you hiding from the government saying something? Because to me, it sounds like you're just hiding from the government and feeding this up.
And that's part of my problem. She don't have a firmly held belief yet. So until she can come with a real argument for what our belief is, I'm not buying this
Until
shit.
she has a Messiah, she has a God.
Yeah, I think, again, you do start with a firmly held belief. It doesn't, hey, all people are great. We're all going to wear Santa hats.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. But it's not going to, fundamentally, because of the way human beings change over the course of times, months, years, by the end of it, it's going to be somebody, there's going to be, because within any faction, you start off unified. If you think about just The Walking Dead, initially it's like
I never watched it,
but just the concept. We are all trying to not get eaten by zombies.
Right.
That we are one unit with that goal. But just like any faction, Lord of the Flies, once you get together, that faction is going to split. Some people are like, now let's rape the women. Other people are like, let's get sanitation and running water and like have funerals. Everything is going to split. And you're going to start off like, hey, we all wear Santa hats and we have fun. This is all a tax scam. 7 years down the line, there's no way that that is still the motto.
That we're just vibing.
No.
We're going to argue over dinner one night and it's going to create a faction. And now suddenly your beliefs and my beliefs are slightly askew. And a generation later, we're murdering each other.
Yes.
I don't think it's possible.
The nature of
I don't think it's that dark. I believe in small batch cults.
Whoa.
I believe in small batch cults.
Well,
I think when you try to start scaling it up and inviting people from the outside, I think you can do it.
Well, let me tell you about a little country called the United States of America, my man. It started with something called the Declaration of Independence.
All right.
And,
all right.
And it ain't going so well.
It's not going so well. He won.
All right, we need to take a break.
Yeah, we do.
We went so long. All right, we're going to be back with more Al Jackson, more My Momma Told Me.
We are back. Happy Kwanzaa. What is the Kwanzaa greeting, actually?
I don't. It's I think it's Swahili based.
Yeah.
So like I feel very uncomfortable. Black man from Cleveland. Swahili.
Many Kwanzaas to you, brothers.
Okay, I like that.
I like that. May Kwanzaa be with you.
The only Swahili word I know is Jambo.
What does that mean?
It means hello. I had a book when I was a kid called Jambo Means Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. You read the title, you're like, got that.
You know what though? Highly
Next
effective
book.
though. Stay with you.
Yeah.
How many books do you read you remember years later? I mean,
a lot.
It's impressive.
I read a lot of books as a kid. I don't read as many as an adult, but I read a shitload of books as a kid.
Man, I had ADHD but dude, I got Adderall and it changed my life. I started being able to read. I got through college without ever really reading. I just had to listen because I couldn't read anything. And then I just went on a tear and I started reading everything.
Oh no, I don't have it anymore. My brain is mush. But as a kid, I was like really.
You feel it starting to go.
Yeah, it's tough because I recently realized I ran out of like all the knowledge I acquired from reading in my youth. I got to the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the porch is over and now I got to acquire new, and the muscle atrophied from not like I still read, but I read like 4 or 5 books in a year. You know what I mean?
There's a very embarrassing thing when somebody asks you like, what's your favorite book? And then something from high school pops in your head.
Truly.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
Fences.
Yeah. Night by Eli Wiesel.
I like the things they carried.
Yeah. No, you just have to act like you kept reading, but that book that you're like, look, Catcher in the Rye, it's still really good.
Okay, this is fucked up though. That it is. I do feel that way about that book.
He literally tried to argue with me the other day about how good that book was.
It is amazing. It is amazing.
Maybe I need to reread it.
Yeah, we should all reread it.
I taught it and I don't feel that way.
I love it. And I've read other Salinger shit to make sure that I love it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's great.
I'm giving it a reread.
Yeah.
You taught English?
Yeah, I taught high school English.
I taught middle school science.
Oh, man. Yeah. Middle school, I hated them. I briefly did like after school programming with middle school kids, and they're truly the greatest nightmare I could imagine, so I couldn't handle it.
You got to get on them early. I was at a weird time in my life in that I was just as crazy as they were. Like I was partying. I was
Miami.
Like, I was at 27 in Miami, like pre-social media. So it was like the 1950s.
Yeah.
Like literally, you could still smoke cigs in the bar. Like Miami's loose, bro.
Yeah.
You could like take a scotch and walk outside and the glass, dog. And you know what I'm saying? Like they just don't care down there. And so I think my kids felt my energy, but now if I tried to teach now down there, they would rip me apart. Like when like one of the first, like the original gang member, like goes back to jail, and he's like, I'm an OG. And they're like, shut up, old man.
I don't give a fuck about each other.
You just don't have that energy anymore. So like,
you don't even hold up Crip like we hold up Crip. Get the fuck out of here.
You trying to tell, you don't know your history, young man.
You see, when we started, it was about breakdancing. Shut your ass up,
I'll
man.
see you at the club. That's how they used to settle beefs. Think about that. Just like, yo, me and Dave's crew, we're going to settle this on Friday at Club Outlander. It's like, what?
I don't think there's any dance move I could do to you that would feel better than hitting somebody in the face.
No.
I do not.
There was one brave man who figured that out. he lost that dance battle and he was like, I'm just going to beat him up.
Hell no.
I'm going to punch him in the head. I think that's going to feel better.
That was ground zero for gang violence right there. It's like, can we go back to dancing and graffiti, y'all? It's like, nah.
That's why we know the name Stanley Tukey Williams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because his windmill wasn't windmilling. Now everybody's got to die because he can't do a backspin.
No.
I mean, if you think about like, Juice doesn't seem like that long ago, but when you watch it, when you see the gun that Tupac has, like I would give that to my that gun is like he's got like a 38.
He's got
special
38,
from Dragnet. Like you would look crazy if you pulled that out. Like you could get that in the club openly, and like how quickly that elevated to, hey, like you got to be extra strapped up now.
And even that, he only had one gun. The whole movie
they
is about
had one gun.
Yeah, it's a community gun.
Yeah. The whole movie is just about Tupac got the gun and isn't being nice about it. And then everybody's scared. And it's like, bro, everybody's got guns now.
Yeah.
Everybody, they're not revolvers. They're
got
really
switches.
high tech.
Yeah, they got switches.
Yeah, that's how they Juice 2 got squashed in the just the early development. Like Juice is successful. Let's make Juice 2 where now another guy's got a gun. Then it's just a gang. Oh, okay.
Like,
All
okay.
right. It only works if there's one gun.
What if Tyrese Gibson has the gun now? Pretty good.
I would watch Juice 2 starring Tyrese Gibson.
I do believe that they made a Juice 2. And I do believe that it starred, if I'm not mistaken, I think it might have been either Soulja Boy or DC Young Fly.
Really?
Oh, they made a Juice 2 recently.
I'm pretty sure.
Who's they?
I think that's a conspiracy.
Did they make a Belly 2?
Yes.
Yeah, Belly 2 exists. Juice 2 exists.
It's not what you want it to be.
Yeah.
I kind of steer. It's not great watching movies starring the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've discussed this, but I guess no, Pac wasn't the first act. I mean, Ice-T is in the first couple break-ins. And here is a weird conspiracy I did have, because I was like, remember the Olympics this past year, that Australian breakdancer Ray Gunn ruined breakdancing. They took it from the Olympics.
I'll never forget.
Breaking 2, they put a white girl in there. She was horrible. And that was the end of the break-ins, because Breaking 1 was about New York City breakdance scene. It was like the culture, hip hop, dancing, the gay scene, like an alt scene was really Breaking 1. Breaking 2, they stuck the rich white girl in there because they needed that narrative of like, my father's gonna tear down the community center and make a strip mall. That was a big thing, and like
Breaking 2 also makes no sense story wise.
Talk to me.
I watched it with my girl like 6 months ago. It's a horrible movie.
Is that Electric Boogaloo?
Yes. Yeah, it's so it doesn't make any sense. It's like terribly like Breaking 1 had a plot.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking 2, it was just like it was really bad.
Admittedly, I've never seen either of the Break-ins. I don't.
Oh, what are you, a Beat Street guy?
No, I haven't seen that either. There are certain films.
Crush Groove, that's your thing,
buddy. There are certain generations of films that I know that if I watch it, I'm not gonna like it, and I don't want to disrespect it.
That's
Do you
nice.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I just go, I'm too old. The generation has passed. There's nothing they're gonna do that's gonna like wow me. I'm good. Out of respect, I'll acknowledge y'all had it, and I'll move on with my life. Instead of doing that shit where we go, man, what the fuck was Rev Run talking about? And
Right.
it's like,
There's a difference 40, 50 years ago.
yeah, he was killing it back then. I get it, but not no more. And I'm not trying to.
Do you know what I still watch that holds up? King of New York.
Oh, with Frank White?
Yeah. It really
Christopher
holds
Walken?
up. It's dark.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I haven't.
Lawrence Fishburne? Lawrence Fishburne's kind of goofy.
Wesley Snipes, his character, but he was coked out and probably unmedicated. You know, do you ever think about that? Like when you look at our parents, like everybody that they grew up with was not medicated.
Yeah.
All the depression, all the alcoholism, nobody around them was like, hey, David, I don't think you should be drinking in the morning. Like no one ever told you.
Zoloft amongst
everyone depressed. I mean, it's crazy that they made it.
Yeah.
It's like really bananas when you think about it.
No, when they call younger generations like weak, I do understand what they're saying. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. It was like you were truly raw dogging the world and you figured out a way to survive this shit. And we're asking for reasonable accommodations. And you're like, but I didn't have that.
Right.
And so it's like, comparatively, we are doing a weaker thing.
Absolutely.
But it also, you're tripping. You shouldn't have done that.
Right. There's some low key hating because I'm sure they're looking like, well, do you know what I could have done if it wasn't legal to slap your wife in Texas until 1991 or whatever, these crazy laws that they grew up with? Like women, like, I don't think people realize like the world that women were living in up until probably like the early 90s, where what was going on at work, like your boss would just call you, yeah, what's up, hot chocolate? Like your boss, like, or shut the fuck up. Like people it was crazy.
What's going on in Miami at work with women?
I'll just say, like, in the places I worked, some of them were comedy clubs, so we're gonna make this real vague. Okay. But like, it would be, I can't. It was like Studio 54. It's exactly what you think it would be. There was blow everywhere, and especially like when you would do the smaller cities, you'd be in like Fort Myers or somewhere. Just the owner would you go back there to get paid, get your check, and just blow on the table. Your check sitting there, waitress sitting on his lap. He's half in the bag. His wife is up front. I mean, it was. But cool. It didn't
when we were kids
seem weird. It was just like I was offered to be paid in cocaine or money, and I was like, I was a teacher. I was like, give me money. I have nothing. Yeah, I didn't even. But the idea that somebody would even propose that didn't seem crazy. I was like, I'm sure some people would do. I was like, I hope I get in a position to take that. You know,
I hope I have enough money that I can take
some
cocaine.
Adderalls.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
just dude, it was. I will say this, and just to wrap that up, there was one place where when a new waitress would come to the club, like, oh, it's Nora's first night, all the waiters and waitresses would be in the back area where the bar is, and they would have her like walk down like the gauntlet, and everybody, they'd be like, look at her ass, they'd turn her around, and then everybody, the men and the women, would smack her on the ass.
Holy shit.
That every new female waitstaff. That's on God. Like but it was just like, oh yeah, there's a new chick working. It's just, and that's where the Me Too movement came.
Put her on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Not Terry Crews.
Oh,
let's go.
I don't give a fuck about him getting his dick grabbed that one time. That lady deserves a profile of like, hey, I went through it. Because there was no payoff on the other end of this.
No,
I was just a waitress at a comedy club in Miami. None of the math here works out in my favor.
Right. And that waitress would tell a waitress, from her mom's generation, they hit me on the ass and they'd be like, that's all, honey?
Yeah, congratulations.
Like, think about that. I mean,
sounds like you had a good first night.
Yeah. What is your manager gay, unlike women? It's like, just what a different world. And it wasn't that long ago,
Al, before we wrap this thing up, I guess the question on my mind, you talked about the possibility that Kwanzaa could become more powerful. You talked about the possibility that Kwanzaa could be then overtaken by our white counterparts, that it would become sort of a universal holiday. My question for you is, do you think ultimately that would be a good thing for the growth? Is the growth of this holiday worth the squeeze of it becoming national and subsequently slightly white, if not completely?
Well, there's nothing that's, if you do not cross over into popular culture is not only all cultures, but definitely white culture, you are going to you have a hard ceiling. Think about how many people are famous in the Black community and people don't know who they are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, if you don't cross that level into like where 13-year-old white kids know who you are, 27-year-old grad students know who you are. There's just a level to how far that you can go within any industry, in anything. It's a numbers game.
Nick, you know who Alan Payne is? You do. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Nick's one of us.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Good guy.
Like, it's and he won without trying. That's what black dudes really. If we feel like you're trying, it's like all right. But yeah, there's this past Thanksgiving. Just to keep it pretty recent, I was floored at the number of people that had never tasted or heard of sweet potato pie.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. They heard of pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is our culture's like baseline for a holiday pie. Sweet potato pie is baseline for black.
Yeah.
That's the ceiling. And when my girl made it, and when people tried it, they were like, oh, like they were just like, why don't people eat this? It was just like like you came out with kiwi or something. They were like, oh, this is some weird, it was just
Dragon
like
fruit, huh?
Yeah.
I'll try it, but
this is going to be popular. But it's like, that's the same thing with Kwanzaa. Is Kwanzaa going to morph into pumpkin pie, or is it going to stay sweet potato pie? And that's the question.
Well, I would love for Patti LaBelle to make my Kwanzaa, so I'm into it.
Yeah, Patti LaBelle does Kwanzaa pies. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, I can't imagine how good that'd be.
Yeah.
That's the crossover we've been waiting for.
Patty, get on the phone, baby girl.
Come on. It's right there.
We've been calling you. You got to pick up.
It's right there.
We got a lot of ideas for you, Patty. But more importantly, we want Kwanzaa to become very popular. I do worry about it, I guess, is maybe my concern is that I think about it a lot in terms of larger Black conversations of how many things do we actually want to become as universal as we claim that we do. That like, and it's something we see often on the internet where people get upset when our culture becomes usurped and we feel like we deserve credit for the thing. That was a very popular thing with like these TikTok dances where like Black kids were creating these beautiful choreographed dances, and then a white girl would go and do it and become much more popular off of this shit. And a part of me goes, stop showing these motherfuckers that shit.
Right.
Just keep it in-house.
Do you think that the nature of Kwanzaa, though, is a little different than even that of a Juneteenth, where it's like Juneteenth is like a celebration of a thing that happened in America, so it's able to be co-opted, where Kwanzaa is specifically created to be this like Pan-Africanist like holiday? I don't think that so to that, I guess I say, I don't think it scales up because I don't think that they get on board.
Well, I think, excuse me. I was just having this thought. I think the real-time example that we have of it is Pride. Look how crossover
straight white ladies love Pride,
and straight white guys go to Pride because straight white ladies are at Pride. And I know for a fact, gay men that was like, I used to get my ass kicked. My boyfriend got his teeth knocked out because we were holding hands in 1982 in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And now to see those same dudes at our parade, I'm sure infuriates them. But they're probably gay, younger LGBTQ plus folks that are like, but this is what we wanted.
Yeah.
So it's the price of admission, and the price of admission to be accepted by the greater United States or zeitgeist culture, whatever, is you have to give up the this is ours, and you have to watch somebody who didn't give a fuck about it commodify it and make money off it and act like they thought of it.
And I think that's really the where I struggle with it is the commodifying. I'm fine with it becoming a commodity we all benefit from. But when it starts becoming the type of commodity that like truly only the motherfuckers that didn't invest in it in the first place are the ones making the money off of it, it gets scary.
Well, it's look at the weed business.
Right.
Look how many,
it's going to be Coca-Cola has a Kwanzaa flavor and all these
things. And it's hard to know where this starts and stops.
But I mean, I think that's an American thing more so than it's even a Black thing, is it's like, What's being offered up in culture that isn't eventually going to be co-opted by corporations?
I don't know. And I pray, if we can wrap this thing up, I pray that Kwanzaa somehow becomes the miracle holiday. If there is a miracle inside of Kwanzaa, I think the miracle would be Kwanzaa, by some miracle, being the first holiday that remains at its core fully Black, but also gains the popularity that it deserves in unifying Black people.
Well, Langston, 'tis the season. I believe in this Kwanzaa Day miracle.
Hell yeah.
Kwanzaa Day, Kwanzaa week. What do they call the menorah?
The menorah?
The Kwanzaa menorah.
Yeah, the Kwanzaa.
Oh, I don't know.
That was confusing.
The Kwanzaa stick.
The Kwanzaa stick.
The Kwanzaa stick. And when you see it at Target and it's made by Better Homes and Living.
Yeah.
You know, there is no African Americans on that board.
When Hasbro has a game for Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Target always wants
some white kid stands up, I win. It's like,
I'm the king of Kwanzaa.
But I mean, in a weird way, good for him because more people know about it. So it's the constant struggle.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yikes. Al, you want to tell the people where they can find you? What cool shit you got going on?
You can find me at Al Jackson on IG. And you can listen to me on Daytime Talk After Dark, where it's my old Daily Blast live show. But we're right here in this here studio. Shout out, dude, IDK Studios for holding me down. Shout out, Nick. Shout out, Jacob. But yeah, and just check my website, Al Jackson Live, for dates. But mostly follow me on Instagram.
Fuck yeah. Bori?
Cool Guy Jokes 87 on Instagram. Birth of a Nation on all streaming platforms. Patreon.com/David Bori.
Hell yeah. Follow me at Langston Kerman on all social media platforms, and you can watch my special. It's called Bad Poetry. It's on Netflix. Watch English Teacher. It's on FX. And if you want to send us your own drops, your own conspiracy theories, if you want to tell us what the actual menorah for Kwanzaa is called, send it all to mymommapod@gmail.com. You can also call us at 844-LIL-MOMS. We would love to hear from you, hear your sweet, sweet voices. Send it all. Call us, rate, review, subscribe, buy the merch. Celebrate Kwanzaa.
Come on.
Bye, bitch. My Momma Told Me is a production of Will Ferrell's Big Money Players Network and iHeart Podcasts.
Created and hosted by Langston Kerman.
Co-hosted by David Bori.
Executive produced by Will Ferrell, Hansani, and Olivia Aguilar.
Co-produced by Bay Wang.
Edited and engineered by Justin Conner.
Music by Nick Chambers.
Artwork by Dogon Krieger.
You can now watch episodes of My Momma Told Me on YouTube. Follow at My Momma Told Me and subscribe to our channel.